Hi, my name is Marvin. I'm the director and animator of States of Matter, and in the following, I give you a brief overview of the creative process behind my film. States of Matter, my graduation film, is an experimental strata-cut animation. The working process can be divided into three steps. The first one, creating the sculpture, the second one, slicing and photographing, and the final one, editing and sound. To make the process a bit easier to understand, I give you a short introduction to strata-cut, which also encompasses the first two steps. So basically, you create this three-dimensional body or sculpture that you can see here on the left side. This body is then sliced layer by layer, second image, and after each cut, an image is taken off of the remaining surface, like here on the right side with the camera installed opposite the sculpture. When played back, the series of images create this animation in which the viewer appears to move through the sculpture, similar to an MRI scan. For States of Matter, I used 7 sculptures, 6 for the film and 1 for the credits. The main material I used was paraffin wax because of its translucent quality. The second material I used was paper. Overall, my creative process was driven by the materials itself, by my own curiosity, and mostly by thinking through making. Most of the time, it was a joyful process, playing with the wax and paper, trying to understand how the materials behave and how to work with them. And this also meant giving up a certain amount of control. Often I could only set directions, and not everything turned out the way I had imagined. On the other hand, this led to unexpected discoveries and lucky surprises. For me, experimenting with materials was the main goal. For example, I wondered what would happen if I put hot liquid wax into cold water, which resulted in these organic shapes that you can see here. Throughout the process, I could only speculate about what the final animation would look like. I often described it as a sort of gray box because I placed elements inside, but I only had a vague idea of what it would look like eventually when reanimated. Over time, I developed multiple techniques and tools to handle and modify the wax in its various states. I used brushes to paint and draw with it. I used devices to heat and melt it, and tools to carve and shape it. Eventually, all these sculptures and elements ended up in these cubical molds that you could see throughout these previous slides. And this was for practical reasons, which always resulted in these wax bricks that you can see here on the bottom right side. Which brings us also to step 2, the slicing and photographing step. For slicing, I used a paper cutter that you can see in the center of the image that I adjusted for its new purpose, and it received various upgrades and further adjustments throughout my studies. The previously crafted sculpture or wax cubicle is then placed inside the cutter. Layer by layer, material is sliced away, which can also be seen here in the center by these little rods, each representing one previously sliced frame. As explained earlier, the playback of the collected images of the remaining surface brings the formerly rigid cube to life, and gradually revealing what was hidden inside. For the final step, I brought the extracted animations into After Effects. Here I highly magnified the footage and curated it, basically. I searched for elements, movements, and little details that resonated with me. And I let the camera move around the surface of these sculptures, trying to edit and combine them to create this abstract narration. For the sound, the sound and music was handled by my friend Giorgos, which you can see on the right side, where he is doing audio recordings of the cutting process. We had multiple conversations about how the film should sound like, but for me it was essential that the film conveyed a focus on the material and that the viewers are drawn in by the music and that the visuals become almost tangible, which everything combined results in this